Communication. What is communication? This is what we are going to discuss in this next moments. How do you feel? I'd like to ask you, let's do this experiment before we start. So I'd like you to, before we start, I'd like you to write on the paper your communication skills. What are communication skills? From 1 to 10, 1 poor or lots of work to be done, 10 perfect. Write from 1 to 10 where you think you are. And at the end of this video, considering all the information, write where you think you can be with all those knowledge. Because you see, communication, is communication what we want? Is communication about what we want to get? Or is communication about understanding what others want to get? Tough one, isn't it? Here's a quote from Anthony Robbins which I love and I respect. The way we communicate with others and with ourselves ultimately determines the quality of our lives. And also, have you heard the expression that the quality of your questions, the quality of the questions you ask determines the quality of your life? What you're going to learn is in this video. There are 10 points, 10 simple points about communication, which makes it vital. These skills will benefit you not only for the purpose you have the program for the purpose of the interview, it will benefit you for life. These skills applied to benefit you for life. And we're going to practice. I have a little exercise towards the end. There's a little exercise that I'll propose to you to play and practice, because this is fun as well. Communication is not only what we want, but it's fun, it's exploring. It's exploring other person's emotions. Because when you think an action, when you think a decision is taken when somebody thinks or when somebody feels about that. So in the same way, if you're looking at communication, could communication be a way to bring the feelings of the other person, bring the emotions alive? And how do we do this? How do we bring those feelings? How do we make the other person to feel emotion, to feel great about the subject? How are we doing this? We're going to find out next. Let's begin. Before we start, before we go further, what I'll invite you to do, make sure that the phone is on the side, is on silent, have a glass of water, have something to write next to you, and relax. Relax, breathe in, let's do 5 breaths together, and we're going to start. So, breathe in. Hold, breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. The reason and the purpose of this exercise is, I'll ask you, have you noticed that when someone is stressed, when somebody is how should I say, in a hot mode, in an agitated state, he doesn't listen to us? He seems that he doesn't listen what we say? What do you think is first condition to have a good conversation? Is it when people shouting and screaming, or when it's a calm discussion or we talk on a gentle way? And this is how, first, this is what we've done, this exercise, because breathing slowly, even the conversation, when you feel a conversation gets hotter, you feel there's some tension, just breathing slowly. Breathing slowly, it calms you down, and then we are able to think and to see how we can communicate, how we can bring the other person on the same state, because we can do that, and I'm going to show you now. So the first, are you ready? Are you ready? Give yourself a high five and say, I'm ready, bring it on. I'm ready, bring it on. I love talking. I'm very excited to talk with you about the communication, because I'm looking back how I was in time and how was my relations with friends and family and at work, and how it is now. And it's tremendous. The benefit that this action brings you, it will change your life. In a communication, where do you think it's easier to communicate with a person? When we understand the way how they like to communicate and the way how they communicate easy, or when we don't? So I invite you to look at this perspective. When we try to communicate, what do we try to communicate? It's what we see, it's something that we hear, feel, it's something we communicate about, something that we taste, or we communicate something about what we smell. And when we understand what the other person tries to say, and we're matching, and we communicate in the same way, what will happen? And communication can be like that example with the store, when you go to look for it and you say, I want red apples, and they have green, yellow, and red. What would you like them to give you back? You like red apples, isn't it? And this is how understanding what the other person wants. He wants red apples. What do I have? I have few apples, I'll give him red apples. And being aware of this, it can change the dynamic of a discussion. Let me show you a couple of examples. For example, if somebody asks, what color is your front door? What is this? Is visual, is auditory, is kinesthetic? It's visual, isn't it? It's color. What is like to bite into a juicy orange? Which one do you think it is? What does it feel like to be happy? So what is the highlight word here? Is feel, isn't it? And this comes in the category of well done. Imagine a purple triangle inside a red square. What are we seeing here? It's visual, isn't it? Imagine the smell of fresh cut grass. Which of your friends have the longest hair? I understand. Let's look at another example. I understand. A visual might say, I see what you mean. An auditory, that rings a bell, so they hear sounds. And a kinesthetic might say, that feels right. And understanding, when somebody says, if you repeat back, magic happens. And this is why it's important to be aware and to practice. So what I'll invite you to do on your piece of paper every day, pay attention to what others are saying, because listen to me here in this video is one thing. You say, yeah, I understand. I guarantee you, when you go face to face with the interview, all this will disappear, because I like it. It's about practice. It's about like that tennis. When everybody practice before a game, we practice. And this is where I will invite you to practice. During the day, whenever you speak with someone, pay attention. Are they talking more in a visual words? Are they using more auditory words, more about what they hear? Are they using more what they can do, what they can touch? Are they using more olfactive? Understand how, and see when you communicate, when we switch, when you translate to that level, what happens? Play a little bit, have some fun.